I live in an unlimited world and things are created just for me. Friend, imagine this. Sit with this real quick. No ceilings, no limits, no doubts, no nothing. Just infinite possibility here for you and me. Do you believe that to be true? And if you don't, when are you going to start moving like you know that the universe is limitless? When are you going to stop asking for permission and stop settling for things? We're going to unpack it today. Let's get into it. Ready, set, let's grow. Hey, friend. Hey, welcome back to another episode of From the Ground to the Crown, where we get rooted, we get grounded in ourselves, we dig deep and unpack all the things, and we rise up to the highest versions of ourself. I'm your host, Kenesha B, and today we are talking about unlimited, okay? Aiming for not the stars, but the galaxies, friend. This is why this episode is called Shoot for the Galaxies and Catch the Stars on the Way, okay? I love that ism. That's one of my favorites. It's something that I created and it's something that I use on a weekly basis. I won't say daily, but I use it all the damn time because people do not feel worthy to shoot for the galaxies. I mean, the stars are so close. I don't even talk about shoot for the clouds. Like, no, clouds are too damn. They're like here. Okay. I think, I always think the biggest thoughts. I always think with the highest version of myself in mind. I always think the grandest things because I do believe that I am worthy of all things. And today we will unpack the root as to why that is not the experience that we're all having. So let's get to the questions of this episode, okay? But before we do that, let me go through today's affirmation brought to you by my Hey Friend Hey affirmation cards. Today's affirmation is unlimited. And it says, okay, friend, the world is truly your oyster. The only limits are the ones you create. Believe that the universe is unlimited and move accordingly, which is what we talked about in the intro of this episode, y'all. Okay, you have to move according to like you know. And if you are out here playing small and fearful, that's because you truly don't believe. You truly don't understand how unlimited this universe is. So let's get to some root questions. Why do we play small? Why do we settle for less? What fears, conditioning, and beliefs hold us back? And what do we feel unworthy of? Mm, mm, mm. Now listen, we've all been there. We've all had those moments where we've dimmed our light, where we've made, fearful judgments or fearful mistakes or just not done things, where we've regretted things. We've allowed other people's conditions and limitations to impact the way we move in our lives. We've all been there. I mean, I used to live there, but I didn't have to, but I eventually got through it and got out of that mindset. And now I don't do anything small. I live a very big life and I love living that way. And today we're shifting the perspective on what that looks like. So I want to give you a story that applies here because up until maybe like early adulthood, I want to say I was still playing it pretty small. Like I was in college in DC and I knew it was a big deal because it's Howard and I got in when many people applied and didn't. So I knew it was a big deal. I knew what the school meant. I knew what it meant to be first generation in college. Like I knew and understood how big that was and how big the feat of going to college, getting out of my neighborhood, getting out of where I come from. I knew how big that was. But I was still there playing it small until this experience happened. So homecoming is huge at Howard. If you've never been to a Howard homecoming, you're missing out. I'm going to just say that. What I also want to say is I applied to be on homecoming my junior into senior year of college. I had done many things on campus, but I really wanted to do something bigger, right? I was in very specific communities like the hospitality community or the school of business community or the New York community. I was in my niche, and even the Caribbean community, like it was a niche. But I wanted to do something that spanned it across all student bodies, and so I picked homecoming as my thing. So on homecoming, you got volunteers, you've got chairs and co-chairs, and then you have leads. And I found a position that I wanted to do, which was a hospitality, like operations coordinator. And I was like, yeah, I'm a hospitality major. This is perfect for me. Perfect opportunity. Now, as I was going through the jobs, I saw operations manager, and I love operations. I've always loved operations, and I was going to apply for it, but the qualifications were above what I had done. Like, I'd never been a volunteer for homecoming. I'd never worked with the committee at all. I'd never done anything in that realm, and so I just didn't apply for it because I knew I could do it, but I didn't have the qualifications, right? So I applied for the operations coordinator position, and in the interview, I'm seated with the chairs of other committees and people who are now on the board for this homecoming committee, and I'm sitting with the advisor, and they interview me, and they're asking me all these questions, and they end up asking, like, why didn't I apply? After I, told all that I've done, they're like, why didn't you apply for ops manager? And I was telling them, basically, I didn't think I qualified. So, okay, that happens. Boom. Whenever I got my decision, they ended up offering me the ops manager position. And as my friend, who was the homecoming chair at the time, as she was like explaining why they thought I would be a great fit for the role, all these fears started popping out in my head, y'all. Oh my God, it was so disturbing because I'm pretty confident, right? I got it together, or so I thought. And here I am, like on the phone with one of my homegirls. She's my friend, and she's like, "Girl, we think you could do this." And I'm like, "Ah, oh, God, no, I can't. What if? Like, I don't even know anybody. I've never done this before." All these things, right? All the fears. And my fears align with the fear of success for the most part. So I was afraid that I would succeed at this thing that I'd never done before. And I was also afraid that I would fail at this thing that I'd never done before. And both could have been true, but it wasn't. It ended up being a really good turnout. Ended up being a really great experience overall. But I say all that to say I ended up accepting the operations manager role. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy because I had a lot of catching up and a lot of learning to do. And it was a huge budget for homecoming. But we killed it. Blood, sweat, tears, frustrations, all of that. I ended up putting my fears to the side. I ended up being like the chair of operations and managing, like I said, a really large budget and managing a team of students while being in school as a senior my damn self. And that was crazy. It was the craziest thing I ever done. But if I had not pushed through that experience, if I had not shot my shot for the galaxies, I would not have caught the stars on the way. And that is literally what this is about. When you dim yourself, when you play it small, when you play it safe, when you let the fears and the doubts and the validations and the restrictions and the conditions, all those things, when you highlight those above the inkling that you know that you can actually do this, you know that you should go up for yourself, you know that you should be doing more, and you simply play it small, man, you're going to regret that, okay? It is not the best feeling in the world. And every time I have to make a decision to go big or go home, I think about the regret of not going big. And that weighs more on my heart than failing if I try to go big. Like, how could you catch anything less than stars if you're always shooting for the galaxies? It's kind of impossible because the galaxies are filled with billions of stars. So you obviously will catch something if you keep shooting that high. If you shoot for the clouds, you're guaranteed to never catch stars because they're higher than that. So I share this story to say that if I did not try my best, if I did not align with where I knew my worth to be, I knew I could do the job. I just didn't think I knew the qualifications were not mine. But people also saw me because they knew how hard I worked. Like, my friend knew my work ethic. She knew how hard I went in class and on campus, and she believed in that. And that helped me believe in my damn self, you know? And it really propelled me to do amazing things after college. And that is something that I don't even think she knows how grateful I am for that experience. I mean, I know she knows how grateful I am for that experience, but I don't know if she knows how much that decision meant to me, because it was really a moment where someone saw me higher than I saw myself. And I did not forget that. I probably will never forget that decision and how that made me feel. So shout out to you, friend. I hope that you watch this episode, and I hope that you know. And if not, I will probably tell you. But I hope that you know how much I appreciate that opportunity. And I'm so grateful for you. All right. So let's talk about the rise in this, friend. Let's talk about the shift of the mindset, the perspective that we can now adopt now that we understand how unlimited the world is and how infinite possibilities are. It's time to shift, right? And the way that you do that is to just get going, okay? The fears, the doubts, the insecurities, they're like looking at a staircase and focusing on the whole damn way up. All you have to do is just start with step one. Just get your foot on that first step and don't focus on the staircase. Because if you keep going one step at a time, you will eventually reach the top. Okay? Now, you know you're going to the galaxies. You're just catching stars along the way. And eventually, you're going to have your own damn galaxy. It's like inevitable. But you have to start with the minor moves so that you can make a major impact, so that you can convince yourself that this is something that you can do. And it looks like starting small. And that's totally okay, because that is a start too, you know? Doing the things that you've never done before, doing the things for the first time, doing the things with fear. Those are the minor moves that make the most impact, okay? And that's where you have to start. Another thing, detach from the limits, babe. Okay? Let it go. It's not your limit. The only limits that you own are the ones that you place, okay? Especially if you've never done something for the first time, or if you got to do it again. It is unlimited, infinite possibilities out there. And if you just start, you get going, and you let the limits go, you recognize that it was just your mind trying to play tricks on you or trying to keep you safe. And that's the job of the mind. So what can you do? Detach from it. Let that limit go. It's not your own. Who cares about what people told you when you were 5? Who cares about what somebody called you when you were 22? Who cares? Who cares about what happened when you told them that the last time? It has nothing to infinite possibilities. And if you've ever seen that Doctor Strange movie, you know what I'm talking about. There's infinite universes and infinite possibilities. And we're going to unpack that at a later time. Because that's a conversation. But after you detach from the limits, you have to move like it's already yours. You got to own that, okay? Ask anybody on homecoming committee how I was moving. First of all, I wanted to build some community like a group mentality, because it was a little separate at first. And I got everybody to watch Shatas on a trip. And I'm Jamaican. So of course we're going to watch something about loyalty and being together and whatever. And they watched it and they were so taken aback by me, I'm sure, because what the hell is this girl going through? Why she got us watching this gangsta ass movie? Well, we watched it and they got to understand what I was talking about when it came to loyalty. And eventually we were moving like one band, one sound. Okay. We were getting things done and we made it through homecoming. And it took a lot of effort on everybody's part. But because we moved like we already won it, we did. And I loved that experience. Not everybody enjoyed it, but I loved it, okay? Because it really showed me how much we could do when we shoot for the galaxies, when we put our hearts into it, when we grind and go get it, we can really make amazing things happen. And so we did that in that experience. The next thing I want to remind you is stop waiting for the right time. There is no right time. Every time is a right time and no time is a right time at the same damn time. Okay, bars. But yeah, there's no perfect time for any of this. You kind of just got to flow with it. You kind of just got to do your thing. You kind of just got to find your way through as you're shooting for the galaxies, right? But it doesn't help if you're trying to dim yourself. It doesn't help if you're playing it small. It doesn't help if you settling. Because the only person that's really impacted in that situation is you. Everybody else is thriving and living their lives and doing what they want. And here you are over here, dimmed and dumbed down. Like, come on. Nobody wants to be in that situation. So really own it. Really make it yours. Stop waiting for the right time. Detach from all the things. And we all have those moments. We've all had those things, those times where other people's fears and doubts have crept into our subconscious and planted roots. Uproot them bad boys. Get them out of there. Pull them like weeds, okay? Because it's not your shit. And you don't have to keep it. And it's okay to let it go. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to want to do something new. It's okay to want to do something even though you're afraid. It is fine. It's normal. You do it anyway. You get it done. If it's on your heart, if it's in your spirit, if you believe and you know you are worthy of the experience, go after it. Stop playing small because the universe deserves it. You deserve it, right? We already know when we show up as the highest version of ourselves, everybody wins. Everybody's impacted around you by that. Everybody comes up from it. And so more of that in life. More showing off, more showing up, more being bright, more being big, more shooting for more than the goddamn clouds, right? We got to go up together. I just want to remind you, it's time to take up space. You know, it's time to stop thinking about what we want to do. Stop hesitating on what's on your heart. Just get out there and get it. Remind yourself, minor moves make a major impact. You don't have to focus on the whole staircase, but just start walking up the damn stairs. And if you don't even put your foot on the step, how you going to get to the top? You're not. Okay? So don't hesitate when your moment comes. The next time something big comes for you, you adjust yourself, put your crown on, and get to it, okay? Because that's the only way you're going to get it done. That's the only way you're going to get to the galaxies. If this resonated with you, if there is something that you are holding on to, if you are feeling unworthy of something, if you are still playing small and playing safe and you feel like you're settling for less, if you are letting the fears and the conditions and the doubts be the thing that's holding you back, I want to hear from you. I want to talk about this. I want to talk through it with you. Make sure you comment under this episode. Leave your stories, right? Like, what is holding you back in this moment? What is something that you are afraid of or doubting that you really want to pursue? Talk to me. I am here for you. If you don't feel like leaving it under this episode, you can always DM me on social media at It's Kenesha B. I read them all and I will respond accordingly. So let's take the time this week to reflect on the root questions and really take stock in what bold moves we could be making right now to shift how we show up in those experiences, to shift how we shoot for the galaxies and catch the stars on the way. Don't forget the affirmation, y'all. I live in an unlimited world and things are created just for me. You have to believe that to be true because it is. I am living proof of it, okay? I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful to you for being here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode. That's it. I'm done for today, y'all. Make sure you subscribe, share, like, and comment under the podcast. The more you share this energy, the more we all grow, the more love that's spread out there, which is the goal for myself and for this podcast. Yes, so subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Tune in weekly to catch another gem or two from me. And make sure you connect with me on socials, on Instagram and Threads at It's Kenesha B. I love to keep our conversations going there. So continue to send your comments and your love my way. Until next time, friends, ready, set, let's grow. Peace.